Good morning. Good. Okay, let us begin the day by giving charity. Charity. Charity saves from all bad things and it brings all good things. Give charity. This is the charity. It's going to save the world. Okay. Now we're learning about the how close Moshiach is, and as we approach Tisha B'av, the saddest holiday of the year, we realize that really it should be the happiest holiday of the year because contained inside of it's like a package. And in this ugly package, you open it up and there's this amazing diamond inside. The package is the fast day of Tisha B'av that we remind ourselves that the temple, first temple, second temple, was destroyed because we did not live up to the incredibly high standards that God has set for the Jewish people. And um, that's why it's not happy, but it is happy because, in fact, God did set such high standards for the Jewish people because the Jewish people can live up to them. And very soon, this potential of the Jewish people will be revealed, and that's the whole idea that the Mashiach was born on a Tisha B'av. That's what it says in the Talmud. Mashiach was born on Tisha B'av. And also, there are listed a lot of other things also that first of all, any moment the Mashiach is supposed to come, it was promised to us by God. For sure it's going to happen. And all the Jewish people are going to be um, woken up, the Torah and the commandments, and the Mashiach will build the temple. And because they're already interested in Torah and the commandments, and the only way you can do all the commandments is if you're living in Israel where there's the temple. So that will draw all of the Jews in the world to Israel to do the commandments because we don't. Why should the Jews do the commandments? Why? Why should they do it? They'll all just become miraculously religious, or they'll realize that if they don't do it, they're going to go to hell. Something. No, that's not the reason at all. No one is going to think about hell. No one in the world will be concerned with hell or heaven. They'll only be interested in one thing, and that is pleasing the creator of the universe, whose main interest of the creator of the universe is that this physical world shall be a good place. And that's the idea of Mashiach, that this physical world is going to be a good thing. Okay, that is what every Jew believes. That is one of the 13 principles of faith. Every Jew, Sha'ani Mamin, I believe that Hine Zeh Mashiach Bo, Mashiach is supposed to come B'zeh Yom, on this day, really, B'yom Zeh Mamash. And we should be tremendously disappointed if Mashiach does not come right now. But this disappointment does not break us. That disappointment is signified by Tisha B'av. But that should not break us because we should understand that it is not a permanent thing. Exactly the opposite. It's just totally not understandable how God, who is infinitely good, schleps this thing out so long. How could he just sort of, keep drawing it out? Mashiach, when are you coming? Oh, today, any second now. But you said that yesterday. I know, but yesterday was a difficult. But you've been saying it for like almost 2,000 years. Okay, let's let bygones be bygones. In any case, the God is expecting from us almost the impossible, but it's worth waiting for because for sure it's going to happen. He says that's what every Jew waits for. Mashiach is supposed to come immediately. Mashiach is going to be a person just like King David, just like Moses. He's going to teach everyone how to really be connected to the Creator and how to reveal our potential. It says that on this day, the Torah tells us, Torah morally Yehudi, the Torah instructs us, Sha'alav tamid lasod, a person has to do his service to the boy like it should be, to serve God as he should, ubishlemus, and completely, kafi lefi matzavu b'havo, how the person is. The person has to do whatever he can with whatever he has. That's what we've got. Kolel, including asiyat achanot matimot, doing the proper preparations, a big preparation, achana rabatai, the Inyani Kedushin, the holy things, and that it should be Lasot Machar or Machrotayim or Achre Zaman, that he is going to do tomorrow and etc. and etc. after all time, namely when Mashiach comes. Mashiach is supposed to come right now. So get ready. Okay, now again, this idea of bringing Mashiach does not mean that you have to, have 1,000 pupils and build big buildings and get your picture in the paper every day, and and go and convince them to close the church down or something like that. It could be the I just talked to somebody yesterday. A nice fellow. He had a father that was paralyzed. His father was paralyzed, half paralyzed. And his father was a very active person, but he was paralyzed for several years. And finally passed away. So, this fellow that I was talking to said he was very bored, with what he was doing, and he wanted to do something more. So I said, listen, it's true, maybe you have more potential to do, but 90% is not so much what you do, but how you do it. How you do with what you have. Because a person that has $1 million, if he's thinking all the time, I want to have $2 million, which that's normal. A person's, the Talmud says that if you have 1 million, you want 2. If you have 2 million, naturally a person has 2 million, he wants 4. He wants to double his money, whatever. That's a good thing. You should want more. But that shouldn't be your foremost goal in life. It should be to take that $1 million, whatever, and do the utmost with it. Give charity, build good things, whatever. This person that was paralyzed, he has to utilize what he's got. He could use half of his body to the maximum, to fight depression, to be positive, right? To ignore the pain, the difficulty, the embarrassment, the shame. Listen, only think positive things. God is creating me every second. At least I'm happy that I have one half of my body. Let's say the half cup that's full. To concentrate on what we've got and to use what we have to the ultimate. And that could be worth more than the person that, has 1,000 pupils, but he could have had 2,000. And he could have been a little bit nicer to everybody. We can't know. The point is that we have to utilize the most to the highest degree what we have. And God will give us more. God will give us more. And the ultimate, what God is going to give us more, the ultimate prize is going to be Moshiach is going to come and show us that we had no idea how much more we had, that we only utilized, 1.001% of our potential. That's what Moshiach is going to do, bring out the potential of the good in everybody. So Rebbe says, any second it's supposed to happen, and is normal, as usual in these for bringing l'kabel hachlatot, you should make good resolutions. Says the Rebbe, we're all gathered together in this building 770, where it's a place where people learn Torah and they pray and they do good deeds. This is now a time we're all gathered together. Make resolutions. Make resolutions of what you're going to do. I am going to try to do this. I'm going to try to add and to increase in all matters of Torah and the commandments of the Torah and spreading out Torah and Judaism. And spreading out the ideas of Chassidut out. And we should, before you make any of these resolutions, that I am going to do this, I am going to do this, you should say, first of all, say, God forbid, Mashiach doesn't come. If Mashiach, God forbid, delays, then I will do this, I will do etc. Why? Because you're supposed to remember, it's supposed to be on the top of your list of things to do. What do they call it? Bucket list or something? To do is to rejoice Mashiach. Mashiach is supposed to come. I'm supposed to wait and desire and long for Mashiach. And the thing is not just to wait and delay. Delay. The more Mashiach doesn't come, the better, because we have to wait. If Mashiach comes, then we don't have to wait anymore, right? Wrong. We're supposed to be disappointed that Mashiach doesn't arrive any instant he's supposed to arrive. Any instant. And the waiting is just like the, how do you say, the the result, the unfortunate result of the fact that Mashiach is not coming. But we have to be desire that he should come because really he's supposed to come. It's not just to play, to pretend. You have to learn about what Mashiach is and to really truly expect that this man, just like King David, just like Moses, is going to come, and he's going to. I mean, you have the example of Lubavitcher Rebbe. Now, there's some people saying, no, the Lubavitcher Rebbe cannot be the Mashiach, and so whatever reasons they've got. Okay, whatever you want to say, but Mashiach has to come any second. He's going to be a person exactly like the Lubavitcher Rebbe, exactly like a. Right, you want to say he's going to come from a different country, he's going to have a different color eyes, whatever, but he's going to do exactly the things that the Lubavitcher Rebbe does. And if that's not a good example, you have the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Mashiach, that's what Mashiach is going to do, to awaken every single Jew to what a Jew really is. And like it is that we should make resolutions. And before your resolutions, you say, if Mashiach does not come, then I will, carry out this resolution, etc. But Emet, really, even after the coming of the Mashiach, also will be Hemshech Mehatorah and Avoda. They'll also continue. We'll also have to continue with our resolutions that we made in increasing Torah and the commandments that we made previously in time of exile. Kedua, like it's known in the explanation from what the rabbis say, Asher Misha Bolakan, Ashrei, happy is one who comes to hear, and his learning Torah is in his hands. Shehachana, that the preparation and the vessel for the revelation, Avodah, and the service in Gan Eden, in heaven, and similarly even more in the future redemption, this is Talmuda Beyado. What you do now before Mashiach comes, this pretty much sets the tone for what's going to be after Mashiach comes. Sharubo Kashurim Zmanu Mokom Galot, because what we do now in the time of exile, in the time, like I told you, my friend's father, he was half paralyzed. Well, we are 99% paralyzed. We don't know what our soul is. We don't know what a Jew is. We don't know what God is. A little tiny bit we can understand. What do you mean Jews are the sons of God? Every Jew is the son of God. You have any idea what that is? The fact that there's one whole religion that's based on that, on misunderstanding that idea. And it's got like 2.5 billion people are going crazy. This guy's the son of God, and every Jew is the son of God. And they believe it in misinterpretation. They're wrong, but the excitement is right. The excitement is right. 2 billion people. Every single Jew is the son of God. That should excite us 2.5 billion times more than we're excited now. Most people are not excited at all. Says the Rebbe, but what we do now in the time of exile is eternal. Each Jew is, in fact, the son of God. And each Jew, in fact, what we do now is eternal. Every good deed you do, it doesn't go away with time. It remains permanently. Where it remains, we don't have eyes to see. That's in the other 999, whatever it is percent. We just we don't have senses to see what a commandment really is, what Torah really is, what a good deed is. But when we see, we'll realize that the good deeds that we did now in the time of exile, that was worth 1,000,000 times more than all the heavens being in heaven together. By means of this, we take the Torah into heaven and also into future with the coming of the Mashiach and the raising of the dead, even though that in heaven, and how much more so in the future redemption, this is the opposite of exile. But when after a person dies, there's this thing the Rebbe brought, that it says that there's going to be the raising of the dead. So everyone's going to die. It says there's some people will die just for like a half a second. Some people just like close their eyes for a second. In any case, heaven does certainly exist, and there certainly is an afterlife, and there's certain souls that have been waiting up in heaven for thousands of years. Moses, for instance, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were waiting there for 4,000 years. So they are definitely souls in heaven. I have no idea exactly what goes on over there. There are books that explain it. But what does explain the Chassidut is that one good deed in this world is worth more than all of the revelations in heaven. And you don't have to have Chassidut to say that. It says clearly, so we don't know what we're doing when we do something good in this world. And how much more so if we have to overcome obstacles. Alder says similarly regarding to all the service of God now, the ultimate purpose of our service now in the days I'm sorry, this whole completion that we are striving toward, the days of the Moshiach and the raising of the dead, it all depends on what we are doing right now, all the time of exile. So all those Jews that died, that were killed in pogroms and things like that in the Holocaust, and nobody even knows where they are. Nobody knows what their last moments were, their last days, their last months, their last years, how they suffered for the truth. Nobody even knows. It says, don't worry, those things did not go to waste. Hashem definitely does know, and those were essential building blocks in the arrival of the Mashiach. What we do now, that's what brings the Mashiach. Until the Geula, the future redemption, will be made only by means of the service of the exile. And if you remember, we've said this so many times that the word Geula, which is the future redemption with all these big revelations that I talked about, is 4/5, is 5 letters, and 4 of those letters are exile. Gola. The Aleph just stuck in here, that's the oneness of God. You just stick the oneness of God into the exile, and somehow or other, it becomes Geula. In other words, the world remains the way it is. You just reveal the true potential and the true diamond that is in this world. Geula. Like I said, I started this class off. I said it's like receiving a dirty package, a terrible, right, smelly, awful package, and you open it up and there's a big diamond inside of it. It could be that a person that did receive such a thing, he'll save the package. He'll save the package. Maybe he'll clean it off a little bit or something like that. And he'll show people, it says, see this diamond? You know where it came in? Look, I want to show you. Here, see, it came in this package. Says the Rebbe, now in the time of exile, by serving Hashem now, it says, so what should we do? We have to make good resolutions. What type of good resolutions do we have to make? Here we go. Oh. The end of this week's Torah portion, this week's Haftorah, Tzion b'mishpat tepara v'shaveh v'tzedakah, right? This week's, I put it up. You can see it in the past classes that we had. There's the classes we had. I put it up like a couple of days ago. So there's this Isaiah, right? So Isaiah is like about 63 chapters. And the first 40 of those chapters, Isaiah is chastising the Jewish people. He's telling the people, you're terrible, you're awful, you got to get it together. You're cheaters and you're liars, and God is angry at you, and He doesn't want your sacrifices, and etc., 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 etc. And he goes over and over and over, and the Jewish people really deserved all this. And in the end of each one, this is one of the examples. This is the first of the 40. This is the first chapter of Isaiah. And in the end, he says, listen, God's angry at you, but the reason He's angry at you is because He expects so much from you. Because you're not using your potential for good. Jews, come on, get it together. And God will never abandon you. That's why I'm getting so mad, right? If God just cast the Jews away, so He wouldn't write books about it. Books about it. You're so terrible, you're so bad. It's like, okay, get divorced and carry on with life. That's it. Find somebody else. Choose the Mexicans, or choose the Puerto Ricans or something. Right? What do you have to get there? So okay, you don't like the Jews, you got rid of them. Good, that's it, right? So no, that's not the point. The point of Isaiah and all the other prophets is that show that God is angry at the Jews because He loves them so much, because they're letting Him down, and God is never going to abandon the Jews. So to speak, God is stuck with us. That's it. But the reason He's stuck with us is because we're stuck in Him. Every Jew deep down loves God. It's just that God happens to be that He loves us more. And that's how this week's Torah portion ends. Tzion b'mishpat tepara v'shaveh v'tzedakah. Tzion means the Jewish people. The Jewish people will be redeemed through justice, through the Torah, and their prisoners will be with charity. In other words, Jewish people, don't worry, the Torah and charity that you did, that will redeem you. Shemishpat, this refers to the Torah, and tzedakah, this refers to all of the commandments, which includes and is especially what is it? Signified. That's not a good word, and is especially under the title of charity. All the commandments that we do are charity, because what is charity? You take something physical and you use it for what God wants. In this case, to give to others. Well, that's what the commandments are. You take something physical and you use it for what God wants. Put the tefillin on your arm, put a mezuzah on your door. And that brings blessing to the world. That's the purpose of the Jews. That's what God told Abraham. You are here to be a blessing to the world. Sheyosifu b'yamim elu. And so therefore, says the Rebbe, you should add on in these days, learning Torah, doing commandments, and especially the commandment of charity. Beginning now, says the Rebbe, on Shabbat, in a way that's permissible. You can pledge charity. Decide, what's also Motzi Shabbat and Yom Rishon on Motzi Shabbat on by the Rebbe. Okay, Motzi Shabbat was Tisha B'Av, just like it is by us. Yom Rishon, Motzi Yom Rishon. All the days after that, we should add on in Torah, Mishpat, and in the commandments, especially charity, tzedakah, and that is what will redeem the Jewish people. That's what it says in Isaiah. No matter how bad you are, Jews, no matter how much you get, God gets angry, He will redeem you. He'll bring for sure you back. All the Jewish people will be brought back to their senses and brought back to the land of Israel. Mishpat, that the Torah in itself, Hari Behemshech, in a continuation of what we said in last week's Forbringen. If you remember what we said last week, says the Rebbe, here's the place to arouse everybody once again, She'im chas v'shalom, that God forbid, if Moshiach does delay, so yamshichu, we should continue, b'chayot, with excitement, with enthusiasm, v'tchazkas chadasha, and with a new, how do I say, strengthening, with a new alacrity, b'kol yom, every day, and every day should be in your eyes like you're brand new, because it's a big miracle that we wake up in the morning and that we're alive. You should orech siyumim, says the Rebbe, you should continue finishing tractates of the Talmud. That's Mishpat on these 9 days, Kolel, even the Shabbat Kodesh, this Shabbat, and afterwards also Motzi Shabbat. Says the Rebbe, how much more than Yotzi Rom Rishon? The Rebbe wants us to continue to every day find someone in the congregation that has finished the tractate of the Talmud, and we should make a siyum every day until the 15th day of Av. Hemshech Tisha B'Av, that's continuation of Tisha B'Av. The 15th day of Av is the happiest day of the year. It says in the Mishnah in Tainit that the happiest day of the year was Yom Kippur, because God forgave all the Jews, and Tisha B'Av, and 15th day of Av. So that was the day that weddings were made, etc. Matches were made. If God forbid Mashiach does not come today, right now, then boy, as Matziim, says the Rebbe, I would like to propose Shiamshichu Barichas Siyomim, you should finish tractates of the Talmud and make like a small celebration until the 15th day of Av. And to attach this with giving charity. And also, there should be a Yom Tov of the Rabbanim. Make it like a little meal. Make a Suda for bringing a get together of Hasidim. We should, says the Rebbe, I want you to advertise this everywhere it's possible, that you should finish tractates of the Talmud in all these days, even after Tisha B'Av. Whether you did this before, they should be drawn down. There should be continue. You should continue, and with extra enthusiasm and how do you say, certainty. Allah's become much more so in the places that have not yet done this. What? Finishing a tractate of the Talmud. One person stands up, he says the last couple lines of the tractate, and then there's a little celebration. Usually they explain something, they give a little idea. Sheagiu l'sham v'yifalu shagam sham yes, yasu siyum, you should go to places where they don't yet do it, and they should also do siyumim. They should also finish tractates of the Talmud and make give charity. Says the Rebbe, what about, I just finished talking about the 15th day of Av. 15th day of Av will be Yom Shishi Abolin. Well, I think by us it's going to be Shabbat. I said last time it was going to be Thursday, and that was a mistake. 1 second. Give me a second. Give me a moment. I have over here my little calendar. 1 second. I have to get a new one of these. Here it goes. Oh. Here it is. The 15th day of Av is next Shabbat. That's right. Next Shabbat. This coming Shabbat. Not tomorrow. This coming Shabbat is going to be the 15th day of Av. The 15th day of Av is supposed to be a very happy day. On the 15th day of Av, it says by the Rebbe, it was on Friday. It's good to do every single place you can, make a big forbringen, gather Jews together, men, women, and children, say words of Torah. How good is if you make also finish a tractate of the Talmud, and to make good resolutions to add on everything we talked about before, Torah and commandments and etc. Resolutions to do more good. Because the 15th day of Av, it falls this year on Friday. It doesn't. When the Rebbe speaking was by us, it falls this year. The Rebbe was speaking in 1991. Here we're talking about this is already, 34 years later. As then you can around, the question can be, okay, make a forbringen on, okay, when to make a forbringen, that's okay. Especially in any case, in the forbringen that we make, the gatherings of everyone that should be made on the 15th day of Av should be joy and with a very positive heart. According to what it says, because why? It says on the 15th day of Av, Lo ayu yomim tovim l'Yisrael kachamisha Lubavitcher. It says in the Mishnah over there in Tainit that there were no better days for the Jewish people than the 15th day of Av and Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur because everybody got forgiven, and 15th day of Av because it's a sign that God has forgiven us because of the sins that we did that caused the temple to be destroyed. That was on the 9th day of Av, and on the 15th day of Av, the moon is full, which is a sign that the moon is compared to the Jewish people like the moon. It's full. It's a sign that God has forgiven us, and other good things happen on the 15th day of Av. Ad until the Simcha HaGadol, the greatest joy, the most happy occasion, that is something like, but infinitely more so than a marriage. Shabo Kashura Simcha of Yom Tov, then the joy of Yom Tov is the joy of Yom Tov, of Tu B'Av, the big holiday of Yom Tov. I mean, it's a very interesting thing. It says in the Mishnah that Tu B'Av was the happiest day of the year. I mean, we have happy holidays in Judaism. There's the holiday of Simchas Torah. All of Sukkot, you have to be happy. In general, the holidays, you're supposed to be happy. V'samachta b'chagecha, you're supposed to be happy in the holidays. Moadim l'simcha. And here, the 15th day of Av, the Mishnah says that was the happiest. That was the happiest. And what does it say? It says, Shabbaim, that and then the daughters of Jerusalem, the Jews, some of them say the daughters of Israel, Jewish women, they went out and they would go into the vineyards, and the young men would go and they would also into the vineyards. They would be separate. But that was where they would make matches. The men would meet the women, they would talk. And especially according to the custom that in these days, after Tisha B'Av, it says we do make shidduchim and chatonot b'Yisrael. All the 3 weeks we didn't make any weddings, and now it's going to be every night is going to be a wedding, 2 weddings, and especially after this delay of the 3 weeks, we make weddings. Well, Hosif, let us add on. Hosif, let us add on. Oh, shekavios chamisha of that when the 15th day of Av, when it falls on Shishi, let's substitute it for what it is by on Shabbat. This hints at the finishing of the service of the Jewish people. The Jewish people that was man when he of man. Man was created on Friday, on the sixth day. And we are also now on the Elef Hashisha. We're now on the sixth, within the 6,000th year of the creation of the world. Right? As soon as the year 5,000, whatever, that means we're going in to the 6,000. This Erev Achana Liyom Shekula Shabbat. This is the completion of the day that's all Shabbat and eternal rest from all bad things. Until the way of Matan Atchinam, God will give us a free gift. So says the Rebbe, now the Tuba of falls by the Rebbe was on Friday, but by us it's on Shabbat. It indicates that everything is completed. We can expect at any moment all of the work that we had to do in this world will be completed, and the world then will function at 100% efficiency. Now it's only functioning at 0.001 efficiency. Then it'll be Obafran, and especially when they're now on the 6,000th, the sixth era. And we are after Chatzot. Right? The world is now 5,700, etc. years old. When it reaches 6,000, for sure Moshiach has to come. That means when it reaches 6,000, that means that we're already going into the seventh era. So this is the sixth era is almost finished. This is after, and it's after 5,500. 5,500 is like 200 years ago. That's like when Chabad began. And after the Achri Akitzim Hashonim, and after all the projected times that the great rabbis of Israel had projected, Mashiach is supposed to come on this date, there was one opinion that Mashiach was supposed to come on Tuf Reish Chet, Tuf Reish Samach Vav. Some said Mashiach was supposed to come in what is it, in 1906? That's right. How it goes? Is that right? Anyway, there were all these different projected times when Mashiach was supposed to come. I'll tell you 1 second. Yeah, that's right. I think 1906, some people said it was supposed to come. Mashiach, some people said it was supposed to come even before that, in 1828, or 1828, 1818. However, there were all these projected times when Mashiach was supposed to come, until the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said, as soon as the Jewish people do tshuva, as soon as they come back to their senses, immediately the redemption will come. And this the Rebbe said in 1941. So this is 40, right? This is 1848. This is 1848. 1941, the Rebbe said that in these years will be more and more revealing the inside of the Torah. Okay, just one small thing. All of Chassidut is based on this idea of bringing Mashiach. So the Baal Shem Tov, that he was the originator of these ideas of Chassidic ideas of the oneness of God and making and loving God and everybody, and happiness and joy and loving your neighbor. To put it, making practical, the Baal Shem Tov, it all started when the Baal Shem Tov had this experience, this out-of-body experience on one Rosh Hashanah. And he went up to the chamber of Mashiach and he said, when are you going to come? And he said, when your teachings are spread out all over the world. So the whole idea of Chassidut is that we can come to love God, more than we love ourselves, especially because God is creating us. So we should, and he's creating us all the time. So to love God, but in order to feel this, you can only be done through the Torah. And that's the inner part of the Torah. That's the ideas of Chassidut. And the more and more that Chassidut is revealed, the more chances there are for people to appreciate God and to love God. And that's the whole idea of Mashiach, that eventually all the Jewish people come to think good, and then it'll be good. And it continued the years. The ideas of Chassidut had been spread out more and more until The whole edges, the Hasidut is spread out to the whole ends of the world, to the furthest away place. That's the idea of spreading out the well springs of Hasidut. I'm sorry. Lo rak sheyagiu l'sham totzot. Not just that there comes the results of spreading out Hasidut. That they saw a Hasid somewhere, they saw a person that interested them. The Rebbe once spoke that some two boys wrote to him that they went out to spread Judaism in some place to look for Jews, and they had no success. The Rebbe said, "You should know it's not so, because someone wrote me a letter the other day that he saw you two boys walking through the streets, and that he didn't know what it was. And he asked his father, his grandfather, oh, those are Jews. My grandfather used to put on things like that. They're called tzitzis, strands. Your grandfather, you mean you're Jewish? Dad? Yeah, I'm Jewish. Your mother's Jewish. Your grandmother's Jewish. What? We're Jews? Yeah, you're Jews, but it doesn't mean anything. So what about those strings? Why don't we put on those strings? And the person became interested, and suddenly he did. So it's not just you see a chassid somewhere, but you'll start to learn. Those same people will start to learn chassidut themselves. May it be God's will that even before the 15th day of Av, next Shabbat, and even in the days which are before it, that immediately should come the total redemption. Like a person wakes up, right? A person is asleep. He's like a rock. It's like whatever it is, like a plant or something. He's asleep. All these stupid dreams are in his head. All of a sudden he wakes up. Whoa, what happened? Where am I? Oh, I'm late. Right? Where is he late? He has to give a lecture in physics somewhere. But before he was just like a rock. And now all of a sudden he's a physicist. He's telling people what happened. 1 second. Said the Rebbe, that's the same thing. We're all asleep. We're all like 1 second we wake up. Then Yachgo, Nachgo, we will rejoice with a tremendous happiness, a joy which is above all limitations. This joy of the true redemption by means of Moshiach. Now, I don't know if you've ever known anybody. I mean, I've known people that's sort of like this, right? That the person is very old, whatever it is, or he gets sick, he gets in a coma, he gets in an accident, and the person is in a coma, and that's it, he's out, right? He's out. They think all the doctors say, we should take off the all the tubes and everything. We need the bed for somebody else. And all of a sudden, the person opens up his eyes and says, "Hey, where am I? What's going on? Why am I here? What happened?" Right? All of a sudden, he gets better, right? And can he walk? Yeah, he can walk. He never broke any limbs. Never broke. There was something. A concussion happened in his head. He can walk. He can talk. He can see. He can this and that, right? All of a sudden, he just wakes up from nowhere. And says the Rebbe, there's no greater happiness. Everybody's so happy. Oh, it's so wonderful and so happy to see this. I mean, if if he was a good person, and if it was somebody that everybody owed money, I don't know, maybe people would have, maybe go back to sleep a little. Everybody's whole family, people who love him, are tremendously happy. So it's going to be with every single Jew. Everyone loves themselves. We're all going to wake up. Amazing, how do you say, amazing consciousness that everybody's going to have of what the truth is. Then everyone will be happy, and there'll be the holy temple, and then we'll bring a thanksgiving offering that we came out of the prison, which means of what prison? Exile. How much more so the fact that everyone has to have give a thanksgiving offering, because you go out of we'll bring one thanksgiving offering for all the Jews going out, and each individual person will also bring a thanksgiving offering that she personally went out. It says, Yodu Hashem, we will give thanks to God, the niflos of the Bnei Adam, and the miracles that he gave to man, to us. Well, like as we say in the Mincha on Friday, we say that there's a long poem. We say, what is it? 104, I think it is, right? Isn't it? 104, 106? Huh? What is, okay. No, I forget what it is. 104. Where is my book? There it is. There's a custom by Jews that before Shabbat, we say a long, beautiful psalm of King David, which is Psalm number, no. No, excuse me. Not very embarrassing. Here. That's right. To the 106, Psalm 106, giving thanks to God. We say that before Shabbat. It says, giving thanks to God on all the miracles that he did. And this is Hoda on the Arba. This is giving thanks on the four incidents, the four types of miracles that are connected to the exile. It says you're supposed to bring a thanksgiving offering to the temple. A person, if he got out of prison, if he went across a desert, says he went across a desert, or if he got out of prison, went across a desert, was sick, got out of a sickness, right? Out of a sickness. And what's the fourth one? Across the desert, went across the sea, going across the sea. It says, like it says in those four things. Mamshichim at the simcha in the days which are after this, ad shechokim at Yom Tov Agadol, the big holiday of the 15th day of Av. And before that, the big holiday of the 10th day of Av, which will be transformed to happiness. Even the 9th Tisha B'Av will be the biggest holiday. A tremendous joy, Shalomayla Mikol Medina, which is above any limitation or boundary. Behetem, the Horos, Chazal, in fitting with the teachings of the Rabbi, Shaloya Yom Tovim, Israel, there were no better holidays to the Jewish people than the 15th day of Av. It's bigger, the holiday of the 15th day of Av, says the Mishnah. It's greater than all of the other holidays, all of the holidays of Passover and Shavuot and Sukkot. And it's greater even than the happiness of Purim, a happiness which is the transformation of the sadness of Tisha B'Av to the 15th day of Av. The Mishnah says it's the happiest day of the year, the happiest day of the year. And the Mishnah that says this, it was written after the holiday of Purim. Jews were already celebrating Purim. So it means that it's the happiest day of the year, the 15th day of Av. Oh, there is similarly, we will continue to make happiness and rejoice, and even more greater and greater and greater happiness. Then it says, it says in the Psalms, then our mouths will be filled with joy. Was it in Psalm 126? Then our mouths will be filled with joy. Kolel, including also the completion of the marriage between the Jewish people and Hashem. We're like the bride, God is the groom. Mehera Hashem Elokeinu Yeshama B'or Yehuda B'chutzas Yerushalayim. Soon will be heard in the cities of Judah, the area of Judah and Jerusalem, the sound of happiness, the sound of rejoicing, the sound of the groom and the sound of the bride. Ad the Simcha Gadol. Nowadays, in the weddings, in Jewish weddings, the bride doesn't say anything. The bride doesn't say, I do. It says, do you take this man to be your offer? Was I do. Bride doesn't say anything. The man says, I take you to be my wife, and the bride is quiet. The bride is quiet. It says, in the future, the bride will also talk. The bride, in this case, is the Jewish people. In the time of exile, were quiet. In the future will be, say, the Simcha HaGadol, to the greatest happiness that could possibly be, the marriage of all Am Yisrael, all the Jewish people, to the creator of the universe, to God. That will be the total, complete redemption. Will come more, like we said before. Take of a this should happen immediately, today. Shekain, from like we said many, many times, that we have already completed all of the bad things in the world and all the good things already. The Holy Temple, Beit HaMikdash, Omed Umuchan Lamayla. The Holy Temple is waiting. Third Temple is all prepared and it's waiting above. What it means above in the spiritual worlds, in the real world. Al-Derech says similarly regarding to everything. Everything is prepared for the big meal, the feast, the marriage feast between us, the Jewish people, and God. Everything is prepared, and we have been given the treasure chest, and the keys to it have been given to every single Jew. The only thing, Hadavar Yachid She'alav Mechakim, only thing that we have to do as a Jew has to yell out even more and even more request and demand ad matai, how long? How long is it going to be? Ba'al yedei zeh, by means of this, who poil, he brings about Simcha, Moshiach will come now to this synagogue, and he will take all the Jewish people and take all the Jewish people that are here, the Tochal Yisrael, and all the Jewish people everywhere in the world. They'll all be taken to the land of Israel, to Jerusalem, to the holy mountain, to the third temple. and in this Shabbat Chazon, this Shabbat we're talking about, we will merit to our eyes will behold, our eyes, Shuvacha L'Tzion, God's return to the Jewish people and to Jerusalem in mercy. Tzion means the Jewish people in mercy in Israel. This should happen immediately, right now, immediately. So the Rebbe is telling us that something really, really good is waiting for us, and that should make us very happy. And every moment that it doesn't happen, it should make us very sad and broken. But the happiness overcomes the being broken. God willing, we should talk about it, not just talk about it theoretically, but we should experience it actually. How do you say? Shoot first and talk later. Moshiach should come first, immediately, and then we'll talk about how wonderful it was and how terrible the exile was.